Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a planner page today from Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. It is part of a page. There are 3 of these jars on the page in the book, but you know, we've just got one. It's quite nice because we've got quite a big area to colour, so we don't have to try and make it too small. I'm going to start with the wood and then move on from there, I think. I'm using my Arteza Expert Pencils. I've got the 72 sets, so I'm going to be using those today. I haven't used those for a while, so I thought I'd just grab those for a change. Now this is the camel brown, which is where I'm going to start. Maybe I'll come in a bit closer so you can see this bit. There we go. Excuse me, a tickle. Now the camel brown is quite a yellowy pale brown. It's nice and warm, and I'm going to put a base on with this and then get some darker brown as well. So just a light quick base really. Now there would be some shadow on this wood from the jar and things like that. We're not going to worry about that at the minute. I might completely forget to do it all together. Now we need to think a little bit about light. I'm just grabbing, you see with the Arteza Expert you've either got orangey browns, that one light brown, then all the rest are really dark. So I've got to skip straight to a dark brown now, which is the espresso brown. I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit. Thinking about the light a little bit, there's going to be some light coming from our jar because we can see stars and things like that in it. I know I've zoomed in, you can't see them, but so there's going to be light around here, so I'm thinking the edges are going to be darker. Also I'm thinking the top is going to be darker than this front, so I'm going to start with my espresso brown and darken this front quite a lot. It's actually not a hugely heavy layer, but just going across. And I'm thinking, would the edges be darker, the centre be darker? Not really sure. I think maybe I'll just put a bit of darker on the edges. Sometimes I do that. Okay, and then for the top I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to use a lighter touch with my pencil, like this. So you can see it's not as dark as this. I'm going to darken up some areas in a minute. Now I'm a little bit unsure in the sense that I think there's going to be some light falling around our jar because of the light coming from it, but there'll be some shadow as well. So it's a bit tricky. So what I'm going to do first is make it a little bit darker on the edges here, like this, and a little bit on here. I don't want this as dark as the front part, but just a little bit. And then I'm thinking the shadow just quite small but darker, like this, just right up to the edge. Like that. I'm thinking maybe it'd be darker at the back. And then I'm going to grab the camel brown again. I'm actually going to go back over all of it because I quite like the idea of the wood being a little bit brighter and lighter, particularly here where there's going to be some light from the jar. Sorry. Now we have a pattern here and here, and I'm thinking about now, while I'm just colouring this in, do I want to do them the same? And I'm thinking probably not, no, because this is holding up the shelf, this sort of ornate piece of metal, and this is inside the jar or on the outside of the jar, not quite sure. So they're completely different, unrelated. Although they look similar because Johanna's drawn them similar, they're unrelated. So I won't be doing them the same. Right, it's just trying to get a good thickish layer here. And then I'm going to go back to the dark brown again, because this front bit that I wanted to look a bit darker now doesn't look that much darker. I mean, that's obvious because I've just put some lighter colour on it, but I'm going to go back to my espresso. Whoa! My camel brown has rolled nearly right across onto the floor. Espresso brown. I do have a pot to put pencils in to stop them rolling around, but it's not in here. I'm just going to do that bit there. So again, I'm going to do a fairly lightish layer by going quite quickly. Now I'm going to think a little bit about this wood grain that Johanna's drawn on, and I'm wondering whether to make something of that. I might do. I'm just sharpening up my pencil, and I'm thinking maybe we'll just darken these lines a little bit, particularly at the edges. So that we can just see that wood grain. Sorry, no speaking, concentrating. And here as well. Just going to emphasise those lines. She drew them in for a reason, you know. Okay, let's just give that a sweep and have a look. Oops, snuck it. Okay. I'm just going to go back over that shadow line, and then I'm going to leave it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to put a few more lines across the whole thing like that, just to make it look a little bit more wood grainy. Like my desk has got little lines in the wood. There. Right, now I'm going to stop, she says. Maybe. Right. This bit here I feel is metallic. It's easier to do it in silver than gold, I think. I also feel that that's what I want. It's just, so I'm having a look at the greys. We have a sort of quite a dark, what's that? We have, what's that? We have a pewter grey, which is rather good for, except it doesn't want to show you its name. There we go, it's going to roll over, look at that. A pewter grey, but we also have a lighter one. We have the smoke grey, which I may use as well. I'll see how it goes with the pewter. I'm going to sharpen this up. Oh, that one's going to roll away. Right. Okay, so this is the pewter grey, just to clarify, that I'm going to use first. We're going to start with this piece under the wood. I'm just going to fill it all in with a really light layer. Try to keep it light. I'm going to go and come back in a minute. And you'll see why it needs to be light. Okay, so under our shelf here, there'll be a lot of shadow. Really dark here. You could even grab your black and do under here if you want. I'm just going to persevere with the grey. I think it will work. But if I think it needs darkening more, I will put some black on top. And all the way along. And then at the bottom as well, maybe not quite so dark, but it's quite difficult to control because we still want it fairly dark. I wouldn't use a black for this one. Use your pewter grey, definitely. It's quite bitty, I can't see what's going on. Okay, it isn't dark enough at all for my liking. I'm going to go back over these bits. And I'm going to get a black. Whoops, can't get it out. And do that bit under the shelf because it just doesn't look shadowy enough for my liking. So this is the noir. I don't know why we're French with our black. You can partly go over the line that Johanna's drawn and partly underneath it to get a nice black, dark black shadow. There we go. Okay, now we're back to the rest of it. Let's with the Artezas is they do leave lots of bits. Right, now I'm going to continue with my sort of pattern. I'm quite liking the idea that we leave a light bit in the middle. So say for this bit here, I'm going to do a really light layer going up to this curl, and then a dark bit on the edge of the whole thing, and hopefully it makes it look like it's a bit shiny. Can do the same on this side because it's symmetrical. I'm going to sort of move from side to side to keep it matching. Make sure then I remember what I've been doing on each side. Round and then round there. Now, I think I'll do this bit, these sort of main bits. So here, again, light colouring. If you don't know how to do light, if you can't do light, you could either leave it completely blank and then just do the second step, or use your lighter colour, the one we picked out that I haven't used. I don't know if I'm going to use it. So again, just around the edges, it's quite tricky. Take it slowly, pause the video, turn your book if you need to. You know, I could do with turning my book, but I'm not going to. I shall leave it the right way up so you don't get muddled. And, you know, try not to not breathe. I tend to not breathe. That is a complete mistake. Hold on. Yeah, I tend to not breathe. It's not recommended. But holding your breath. There we go. Let's get rid of that. It's supposed to be near the edge. I'm going to sharpen. Ooh. Sorry. I'm going to sharpen again. There we go. And that should help. Yeah, if you keep your pencil sharp, it's a lot easier. Just take it slow and enjoy it. Oh, the sun's just gone in. I think it's supposed to be another sunny day. I need to water my new plant. Actually, I bought a plant for the garden. I need to make sure it was getting enough. It's not drying out too much. It'll be a bit annoying for it to die before it's even settled. But I hope it's going to be alright. It's called a Hebe, H-E-B-E, and I think it's called Pearl of Paradise, the colour. It's the sort of purple flowers, but I picked it actually because I really like the leaves, and it's an evergreen, and I wanted a bit more green in my garden. Now, I think I'm going to continue with this colour on all the edges. Now, these sort of outside lines, so I'm going to do a light one here and go around the edges. This one's going to be tricky, it's so narrow. And then this edge here. Oops, sun's back out. I've got to go out later. I don't want it to be too hot. It was weird yesterday. I went out really early. I had a doctor's appointment. It was just a health check because I've had my birthday, and every 5 years you get a health check, and they do it on your birthday. They send you the reminder. So I had my health check, and so I asked for an early morning appointment. I always like to get them over with first thing. I don't particularly like going to the doctors, even though it was just a routine. I did have to have my what's it flipping called? Cervical smear test as well, which is not a particularly pleasant experience. I like to just get it done in the morning and over with for the day. I have to think about it, so I always get a bit nervous. But had that all done, which was good, and my health check. In my surgery, I don't think my husband's never been called for one, nor my sister. I don't know why I get one, but it's good. They test my blood for diabetes. I haven't had the results yet, and cholesterol. Well, they ask about your family history first. So, have you got a family history of heart disease? I said, I don't think so. I don't really know. I've got quite a few cases, but I don't know how many warrant a family history, if you know what I mean, because it's a big family. So, you know, you're going to get a bit of everything. But diabetes, definitely. My mum has it. Most of her brothers and sisters had it. A lot of my cousins are now getting it. So yeah, that is a biggie. And so their tests, she said, we'll definitely test for that then. So we'll see. So far, so good, but and I think she said either kidney or liver function they tested for as well. 3 things that she tested for. Right, that is all of that colour. I'm going to grab the lighter one. I don't know if it's going to be a bit too light, but we'll see. This is the smoke grey for these sort of bits. I'm going to do them slightly differently. Smoke grey. I'm going to go around the edge with the darker amount and then fade towards the middle to make the shine in the centre. I don't know how well it's going to show up because they're so small. You could do these as sort of gemstones if you wanted, but I'm going to do some of those, I think, on the bottle, maybe along that bottom there, those. So I think I probably don't need to do it on here. This is just the shelf bracket after all. I'm thinking that's supposed to be shine, but I'm not really sure. I'm just going to leave my own shine and not colour that bit in. Again, you could do that as a sort of gemstone. I often think that when Johanna draws these things, she doesn't actually have in mind what it is. I think she just makes it look pretty and lets us use our imagination. So that's makes us be a bit more creative. Sometimes it's easier if you know what it is. I had someone send me part of a picture this morning and say, can you work out what this is supposed to be? Nope. I found some coloured in versions of the picture that I could show them, but it still didn't help me know what it was. But I expect she'll just guess, I expect, and have a go at something. Probably copy their colours in the one I sent. But I had no idea. I wouldn't know how I would have coloured it either. It's not a book that I've got. Okay, so there is our shelf and the bracket done. And now we have this. Now this, I was never intending to do all of this in one video. It will be 2. It won't be 3 because I've got lead time for my completed pages. Because I think if I'm right, yes. So we'll make it 2. So I thought, I'm trying to have a think actually. The bug, we've got, the bug is sort of, I think, magical and giving off the light in the jar. So I quite like the idea of doing the bug quite dark and then the inside of the jar a lighter version of the bug colour. So I have to have a think about colours. We have some really pretty purples in this set of pencils, so I'm quite tempted to use one of those. Let me just have a quick look at what I've got. The amethyst purple is really nice. I think I'm going to use that for the wings of our bug, and I'm going to do the bug next. I've decided now. In we go. There we are. So So here we are, amethyst purple. Mine's been sharpened off a little bit. Where should we start? This bit here, I think I'm going to do this centre part. I might do the outside bit in black actually. These are quite crumbly, these pencils, aren't they? I'm trying to make it a little bit lighter in the middle. Let me brush that off. I don't know how easy it is to see. So I'm going to go around the edge of this bit with quite a thick layer, which is why it's crumbling away, and then a lighter bit in the middle. And then for the wings, I'm sort of going to ignore the stripes and just make it very dark under here, and then fade it down. I want to cover the whole wing with this, but fade it towards the tip like that, so there is very little down there at the bottom. I'll do the same on the other side. I think it looks like a superhero cape. Why do I think that? Because I'm bonkers. Well. There we go. Now I'm going to use another colour as well. Near the bottom there where it's fading, I want to mix it in with a pink. The plum purple actually, which is the sort of pinky colour. I'm just going to give it a sharpen, it's a bit blunt, and show you. It's very straightforward, I hope. So here we go, plum purple. And I'm going to put it down quite hard here. And then start to fade it so that it mixes in to our very pretty purple, like that. And the same on this side. Now it's not totally mixed. I'm going to use a blending pencil to just try and mix the two, because I don't think I need to put any more colour down. I think it's quite dark enough. So if I blend it with a blending pencil, it will hopefully get rid of the bit of white paper that's showing through without us. I'm just choosing a blending pencil. I've got a selection. This is a Prismacolor Blender, which I know works with this pencil. I'm going to start at the bottom here on my lighter bit. Just work my way through. And the point of that exercise wasn't really to mix the colours together. I think they were quite well mixed, but just to eliminate that white paper that's showing through. Like that, and I'm going to use it in there and there as well. And wipe that away. Okay, now as I said, I was going to do that bit black. I've got the noir here that we used before, and I'm going to do these pieces in black. Now don't worry, we're going to put some pen on here, so it's not going to look so sort of stark and black, but in a bit. I'm going to do the body first, or else I will most probably smudge it all. There we go. Now I'm going to do the body in a different colour to this shelf bit at the bottom, just so that it looks different. I think we need it to be quite dark. We're going to be doing colour in here, so I think this needs to stand out. So I've grabbed the charcoal grey, which is a really dark colour, and I'm going to use that for all the body. Maybe not the eyes actually. I'll see how dark it is. So around the head, and then lighten it like this so that the head looks more rounded. You see? I think that's a bit pale in the middle still. Let's put a bit more colour in there. There we go. I'm going to do these bits and leave a little bit of paler bit in the centre so they look a bit more rounded. Now, thinking that's the eye. Now here I want to leave it paler in the middle, so just layering up a bit more on the edge. I think I'll do those 2 bits in black. So here I want dark here, here and here, so just layer it up there, and a bit less towards our centre. So you can just keep adding gentle layers until it looks how you want it to look. I realise Johanna has drawn some lines and pattern on here, and I am just ignoring it by using all one colour. But that's okay, you can do what you wish. I'm going to grab my black and do those eyes. Oops. They're on the side of the head, aren't they? Now I'm going to just use my blending pencil again. I'm just going to scribble it on some scrap paper to get that it's got pink on from the wings. Okay, I don't want to put pink into the body. And then just use it a little bit to get rid of a little bit of that white paper. But we still got our shine across the body of our moth. Now the antenna, I'm not sure about the ends of here. Is it just a thin line that happens to be turned over, or is that actually a solid piece? I'm never sure. I think I'm just going to leave it and do my background through it and I'm not worried about that. Okay. Where to now? Let's come out a little so we can see our whole jar. I think I might just do a few gemstone-y bits and then leave it for today. I'm going to use the plum purple that we used already for the wings for some of the what I thought looked like precious stones. Okay, so here it is, plum purple. And the ones down here at the bottom, so I'm just going to go around the edge with lots of layers and then fade it towards the middle where I want it to look a little bit lighter, and do that all the way across. Now up the side of the jar there are circles. Now I'm not sure whether those are supposed to be gemstones stuck onto the glass or whether they are supposed to be light reflecting off the glass. It's a little bit difficult to tell. Let's do some gemstones at the top while we have a think. I'm thinking these teardrop shapes could be gemstones. Yeah. And then we've got the half semicircle parts above, which I shall also be doing as gemstones. Same technique, so all the way around the edge, slightly faded in the middle. We'll add some, we might add some white pen. I don't know if this colour bleeds into, no it doesn't. That's good. So I've coded my pencils because some particularly deep pinks and purples, occasional blue, bleeds into white pen. And so I've put a little bit of washi tape on the bottom of those pencils so that I know. So it's not this one, so that's good. So if I'm definitely planning on using some white pen, I won't use that pencil. And I find that these Prismas, there's 2 Prismas that do it, Dahlia, purple and one other, I can't remember. There's quite a few Black Widows that do it, and there's a blue in the Black Widow set that does it, as well as a couple of pinks. So I've put a bit of tape on them, and then I know. And what I do is when I swatch them, I put a little dot of, I'm going to do these ones here as well. When I swatch them, I put a little dot of white on each swatch, and then I know. And it saves any jeopardy. when you want to use a white pen. And it can be a bit annoying if you had decided to use a white pen, then you find it goes neon pink. So I have tried to layer up, so if you use the second layer of white on top, sometimes that works once it's dry, sometimes it doesn't. And also sometimes I'm a bit clumsy, and if I do a second layer it can look a bit thick. So it just depends on how confident you are with your pen. So if you've got a colour on the back and it's a bit thick, I've had a few experiences lately where I've been colouring on the back of, I'm going to do these. I've been colouring on the back of a picture where I use some stickles and I get a sort of freckly effect on the other side. I don't mind too much, but some people would, I know. I'm just going to solidly colour these. Oh, and these teardrop ones. I mean, you could do these so you can see the glass through, but I think it's quite nice to make them look like gemstones. Now I'm sort of into doing this sort of shape and colour, then it's easy to do lots the same. It's really straightforward. And you can, of course, use lots of different colours to get a better effect. You know, I'd use darker and then lighter pinks or purples, but it's quite a small space, so I'm not too worried. And lastly, we've got a few down here I'm going to do in this bit. I haven't decided what colour to do this whatever this is. I might use, actually, thinking about it, because we've used the pink from the wing, maybe we should use the purple from the wing as well, and then it all sort of ties together. That might be a good idea. I think I'll do that. Yeah, let's do that quickly now, and then we'll leave some of this for another video, as I've said already. So this is back to our amethyst purple. We could do it the same as this bit at the bottom by doing a light layer. This is my favourite purple, I think, from this set, which is why it's so short. You can buy Arteza Expert's open stock though, but it has to be 3. You can't buy them individually, and they're 3 the same, which is a little bit annoying, but it's better than none, because a lot of budget ranges, I mean, I would say this was mid rather than low budget range, but a lot of them don't have replacements at all, and that can be, yeah, annoying, because it means that what happens when you run out? You have to either mix them with other sets, which is okay if you've got other sets that work with them or that have those colours that are missing, you know. But so I know some people don't like mixing their sets, it makes them very uncomfortable. I'm going to do exactly what I did down here now and just put a dark outline all the way around. Yeah, some people don't like mixing sets, or they find it difficult. They either like just to use the one brand at a time, or even just the one type of pencil at a time. You know, we all have our little things that we prefer, and I prefer to only use one set, or maybe just 2 when I'm making videos, because I don't want to confuse everybody. I think it's easier if you've got a set and you want videos with that set. You don't want a big old mix of different sets, because then it's, you know, you might not have all the colours and things like that. I know some of you will watch this and not have this set and just say, well, I'll use the mauve from my polychromos and the middle purple pink, and it'll all be fine. But others of you like to follow exactly along, and you don't convert the colours, you know, you don't. It takes a lot of time. I never used to be able to either. I never used to know what the equivalent colour was. To the inside of this bit. So I couldn't. And I used to use other people's charts and things. I have done some charts though now to try and help people. So if they want to colour along with something I've done and they don't have the pencils, I've made some charts on my Ko-fi shop. They're available in my Ko-fi shop, I should say, to try and help. But if there's anything you need help with, even if you go, what's the nearest Prismacolor to that purple, or whatever, just let me know and I'll come up with an idea. You might not agree with me though. It's all quite personal, I think, sometimes. Okay, there's that one. I'm going to do this top one as well before I finish. Yes, it's sometimes a little bit tricky. Like I'm looking at some colours going, is that blue, is that pink? Not pink. Is that blue, is that green? I mean, pink, blue and pink I'm quite good at knowing the difference. And I was even doing a Sarah Rennie Clark Colour Cube card, and she had a colour called mint green. And I looked at it and I was like, well, that's not mint or green. It looks like a sort of dark teal. So I was like, what's that all about? And I found the equivalent colour in my Brute Funa Metallics 50 set called Morning Dove, which I sort of usually put in with my greys. It's a sort of bluey grey. And then I did, I had it in another one as well. I'm trying to remember what I used for it the second time. I can't remember what set of pencils I used, to be honest. Don't know. So yeah, it was a bit tricky sometimes, just, you know, matching. So we all my husband is colourblind, so he's not very helpful. Sounds really rude. Ooh, pencil's running away. So I'm just sharpening, and it was resting against my sharpener. I didn't realise it was. My desk obviously slopes. I thought it sloped towards the other way because I've had to put some washi tape between the desk and the wall because I lost a pencil down the side of the desk onto the floor, and I didn't have a long enough arm to get it out. It was trapped. But so I've stuck some washi tape along there, but the other side there's a huge gap, but I can reach down there, so I don't need the washi tape. Now this might feel a bit painstakingly slow, but I feel that it is well worth it. But you could just block colour it in the purple. You need to do this if you think it's just gonna try your patience. You have to remember that colouring should be fun. It should be relaxing. And if something's taking too long or getting on your nerves, or you can't see well enough to do it, or whatever, or you're not accurate enough with your pencil, then just find a slight adaptation, because, you know, we're all at different stages. Whoops, I've just gone out of the lines. We've all got different levels of patience and different tolerance on different days. Like some days I can't make videos because I just don't want to. It's not very often, and it's usually later in the day. If I can start in the morning, I'm great, but in the afternoon I get tired, and I don't always feel like talking, so then I don't do them. But that's what happened. I've gone out of the lines, there's not much I can do, never mind. That's what happened yesterday. My son was home for the morning. He went off to college at lunchtime. My husband was here, but I could have come into the office and shut the door, but I'd been trying to sort out the repair on the car and all that stuff, and helping my son keep focused on his revision, and I'm a bit worried about the fact that he thinks he's done enough, and I'm not sure if he has, but I don't want to make him feel unconfident by telling him all that stuff anyway, and normal parent household stuff. But by the time the afternoon came, I was just tired, you know. Right, I'm going to do one last bit I was just thinking the loops around here would be good in this colour too. So again, a light layer. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't record yesterday. And on Monday I struggled too because the car wasn't working again. Husband was around. Son came home in the afternoon. Yeah, husband was panicking and worrying, and oh, he gets himself so stressed. But anyway, I try to stay chilled. It's not always easy. I'm determined that once the boys' exams are over, I'm going to be more laid back, more chilled. When they start university, I have said to myself that I'm going to butt out and let them just study on their own, because their first year marks don't count. So if they find they're not studying hard enough or keeping up, it won't matter. But I don't know if I can cope with that level of detachment. Right. I am going to stop now and come back and finish this tomorrow. Let's just give this a little brush. It seems to have taken quite a long time to do quite a small amount, but you know, that's what happens. I can see the sun's coming across the desk as well. Anyway, but that's us for now. Yeah, come back tomorrow and I'll try and decide what to do with the rest. But thank you so much for watching. Have a really super day and happy colouring.